everybody. Quiet, listen to me. We're going to start a show. Now, some of you people have been with me before. You know it's going to be a tough grind, but we're going to have a show.
And welcome all to another week in the dismantling of America. It is a great, great pleasure to have you all with me. And Kim is here as well. Kim, how are you? Right. And Tony is here also.
Thanks, Tony.
I know. So we got the full crew. We're on between 2 and 4 on the East Coast. We start a little after 2. And that's who is to blame for that, Kim. I think it's really...
I blame you.
All right. It probably is maybe a bit my fault. 11 to 1 on the West Coast. Congratulations to you, Angelinos. I know your baseball team is in the World Series and got, just crushed, I think, in the one game. But now in game 2, wasn't it? They did really well. And so, yeah, now it looks like they are the unstoppable force that all of Major League Baseball felt they were. Many of you are not baseball fans. Many of you join us from the Bay Area, and you're football fans. That didn't go so well. But the commissioner comes in later in the week, and we will review all things sports. Today, what a show. The President of the United States, who I will tell you is Donald Trump. Yeah, the flim-flam artist, real estate dude who stiffed contractors, never paid bills, created the image of billionaireness when he actually was close to broke. If you read the David K. Johnston stuff, you'll never believe it. He made his way to the presidency. Yeah. What happened was he was in a show called The Apprentice, which is really a good show. And it really created this vision of him and image of Donald Trump for America that was about a successful businessman. It was a TV show. But enough people bought it, and then he went on the stump with this angry stuff, talked about how stupid everybody was. We've got bad deals. The Iran and nuclear deal is bad. The Paris climate deal is bad. This inflation is awful. And he made it to the presidency. Then he tried to overthrow the vote. And you would have thought that would be like enough to knock this guy out of the running. My hair is all messed up today. Sorry.
It looks curly. It's cute.
Didn't really get a chance to get to hair and makeup.
You can tell it's been raining.
Yeah, it's sort of, I needed hairspray or something. But the second term, no one would have believed, but he made it. So now here we are in the second term, like 8 months in, and he starts right out of the chute with creating this huge, well-funded agency, ICE, that goes around and under the guise of arresting people who are in the country creating gangs of violent, drug-running, awful villains, he ends up detaining and deporting a bunch of people who are working at car washes and in the agricultural fields and in hospitals and who are coming to a court for their court-mandated immigration hearing. Those people are arrested, detained, thrown in vans, and those people, their kids never see them again. That's where we are. And at the same time, he's smack-talking our biggest trading partners and our closest friends. I'm talking about Canada, Mexico, and then, of course, you throw in, this isn't a close friend, but this is a huge trading partner, China. So the tariffs he then imposed, and again, you have to go back and see the whole movie. It's just unbelievable, but that's essentially where we are. And so now...
Thanks for the recap.
Yeah, I'll get into where we are with China, because the smack talk becomes these impulsive economic policies that are then foisted upon the American people, and we're choking down higher prices on everything from automobiles to eggs, and all of the sort of promised relief for inflation goes away. So that's where we are, and we'll update the China situation because he is going to meet with President Xi, and President Xi and he have a great relationship, he says. That's something he's spoken of. He's a weird dude because he's, on the one hand, he's like a spurned lover talking about China. They treated me poorly. The rare earth minerals we want are not being shared with us at the level we want. I mean, at least that's substantive. I mean, the thing with Canada is that they ran a commercial that quoted Ronald Reagan, had Ronald Reagan speaking about tariffs. And based on that, he imposes new tariffs, withering tariffs on Canada. It's insanity. I mean, in other words, it's all bruised ego. So that's the public policy face of Donald Trump. Meantime, there is corruption on a level you would never even conceive of. I mean, Washington has always been corrupt, with paid lobbyists, monies going into re-election campaigns that then have foundations and PACs, and there's all this dark money in Washington. It's been written about, I should say, in a book called Dark Money. Read the book from Jane Mayer. It's brilliant. And you'll see how all of this money doesn't just flow into campaigns politically. It goes into education. It goes into universities. It goes into high schools. I mean, the seeds of political dominance are sown very early in the political process in American culture. So anyway, this president is realizing that he has all the power. Nobody's going to stop him. There is no Congress effectively that's going to limit him in any way. They didn't limit him on the tariffs. They didn't limit him on blowing boats out of the water in Venezuela, although I'll play you a little bit in a second about that. And so he decided, hey, I'm going to do what I want in relation to, and this is just on the corruption stuff, grabbing $230 million from the U.S. Treasury under the guise of relief for my harm psychologically as a result of being harassed. I was harassed by the judicial system, is his argument. And he says, I was the victim of a witch hunt. And who could put a price tag on that? I'll just grab $230 million and we'll call it even. And who has to approve it? My concierge attorney general, Pam Bondi, and my former personal lawyer, Todd Blanche, who's number 2 at the Justice Department. And then ultimately, though, it does have to be signed off by the president, who is me. So Trump works that bit of bald-faced corruption. That actually follows the billions he's received in the crypto pipeline, which he's so much part of. And that, my friends, gives you a little bit of the snapshot of what's happening in America. And I've left out the crushing way in which the Justice Department is coming down on anyone and anything, any entity that they perceive to be dissenting opinion. So they're shaking down media, law. They're going after governmental officials who they perceive as their enemies. Everyone from Adam Schiff to Letitia James. And then it's thought that they'll broaden beyond that. That certainly appears to be the dance that's being done. That is your summary of where we are today. Thank you. A little something I threw together. To be honest, I just kind of ad-libbed it, but I think it gives you a sense of the picture. Mark, keep your efforts on the files where all the action is, says Eugenio de Arnel. I forgot that the congressional absence may be tied completely or in large measure to the loyalty they have toward their MAGA leader, Donald Trump. And his desire to never see the Epstein files or information released in any way because he's all over it like a bad smell. His best friend was Jeffrey Epstein. Now, the files have already been dry cleaned of his name, a lot of it. So I think when we do see anything, and there have been drips and drabs out, you're not going to see a lot of Donald Trump's name. There's no sense of hands off the files that, that's really, you can't mess with them. No, the Justice Department is a place where they are just doing the bidding of the president. So, yeah, Epstein, says man from the West 420, right? It does. And so, good morning from Lucy McAllister.
Morning.
It is a delight, Lucy McAllister, as my favorite McAllister, to say good morning to you. And I might say, big shout out.
Big shout out.
Yeah. Thank you for the $20 super chat, I should say. Super stickers and super chats are live now while we're on the air. Feel free to jump in, support this show. And I'll get to the China stuff in a moment. And I'm seeing a few quickly. Vilma says, can call Congress back in session anytime he wants. Yeah, Johnson can. Johnson chooses not to. It's up to the Republicans. They are the majority in Congress and the Senate, and they have the presidency. It's true. I mean, I think to blame the Democrats is kind of a bad move, but they do. Oh, they scrubbed anything they could. I agree. Canadian NICE agent, 1867. All right. Let me quickly then. I did want to share with you a moment I had, but do I share it now or do I wait? What do you think, Kim? You're the producer.
Oh, share it.
Share it. Okay.
Kim, how are you?
Share it.
All right. Let me get, and then we'll get into the China thing. We've got Gary Dietrich, bottom of the hour. There's some great stuff ahead. So,
The Mark Thompson Show.
Over the weekend, I went to a special lecture and a Q&A with one of my idols. Okay, and he's been on the show before, Timothy Snyder. Brilliant intellectual, brilliant writer and expert on the rise of tyrannical regimes. He wrote a book called On Tyranny, and he also is very familiar with the rising despotism and indeed the authoritarianism that has ruled much of Eastern Europe. I'm talking about everywhere from Russia to Ukraine to Kazakhstan to areas that might even constitute sort of small slivers of a large region where despotic rule has kind of taken hold. So he knows like how the primordial ooze of fascism shows up. There's his book On Tyranny, 20 Lessons from the 20th Century. And he wrote that, Timothy Snyder did, as sort of a historical document. And it wasn't really designed as a guidebook or handbook for America. But then America fell into this place where you've seen a rising authoritarian flex. So he has a new book. I got it here, On Freedom. And so I'm really like in awe of him. And he moved to Canada, moved his family away from the U.S. tyranny. That's exactly right, said Murphy Rowan. So I get a chance to go to this thing. I mean, it's a ticket, you buy it, right? I'm no big deal. But then, largely because of whatever connection, we get invited to this reception that precedes the Q&A.
Oh.
And it's a very, 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 very small crowd. Not many people there. It might have been 20 people there. It's like, wow, this is really like, you're almost like a green room situation, you know? So I'm all dressed up because he's my idol, right? One of them, you know. I just think he's brilliant. And I go over to him to say hello and to remind him that he was on our show. But this is the part that I want you to see. So at the end of a little brief exchange, and he's obviously a funny guy. I mean, he's got a great sense of humor, although I think we hear him speaking about authoritarianism and despotism, and you don't really get into
Not
the
a lot
funny.
of laughs.
Yeah. So,
yuck.
Yeah, exactly. So at the end of our super brief conversation, I say, well, let's get a picture. And Courtney takes a bunch of pictures. But this is how messed up I am. This is how screwed up and full of anxiety and just always wanting to do the right thing I am. So we stand there, and just by reflex almost, like you would always take a picture, I'm standing next to him. He puts his hand, I think, on my back. You see there, he's on the right, of course, I'm on the left.
Nice,
and
yeah.
I put my hand on his back. But I'm thinking, I'm not sure his hand is on my back. And I've got my hand on his back, and he's like a big star, and maybe this is too familiar because I don't really know him. So why do I have my hand on his back? And I'm not sure that he has his hand on my back. I think he does, but maybe that's not right. This is all going through my effed up head, right? So you'll see what happens. Because I'm so into this, I'm not sure he's got his hand on my back thing, I begin to lower my hand, and now I'm just there with my hand. And I don't realize this till later, he does have his hand on my back. But now I'm the one who doesn't have my hand, because I'm thinking, don't be too familiar with Timothy Snyder. And so at the end, it's me like that, and he has his hand on my back. But I think the picture still kind of passes. But you realize how, yeah, exactly. I felt completely awkward. Dude, the whole thing at the end was all awkward because of me. I mean, why I can't channel confidence in these situations, I don't know.
I think you're really overthinking it. I mean,
no kidding. Paranoid Mark, exactly.
Smile for the picture, like, it's not that complicated.
I'm telling you, it's not. And I'm a mess. I need some kind of therapy to get past this. And he looks okay with it. Right, exactly. Right, I don't know. Well, my eyes are closed in that picture, but anyway, I
think that's the moment you're like, I shouldn't be
you're right.
That's the thought.
Why am I touching him? Don't touch me.
I hope he'll come back, and when he does, you'll be able to remind him of this. But Professor Timothy Snyder on freedom, and the lecture was really good. So
The Mark Thompson Show.
Take a chill pill before visiting. That is probably a good idea. Try transcendental meditation. I really want to get into transcendental meditation. You have no idea. I did it in college for a little while, and it was great. But you needed to have Kim there. Maybe. When you need confidence, think of yourself as Barack Obama. Wow, that's a real... I haven't tried that. That's a new kind of therapy. You were in awe, and your mind short-circuited. Said, thank you. Karen Cooper gets it. I like Tim's wearing some kind of tunic or some kind of shirt that way.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah.
He's very good. He looked very college professor, which is what he is. At least you kept your smile pasted on. That's true. Yeah, I was happy. Take a gummy. I agree. Well, Courtney said, you want to take a gummy? I said, no, I don't. I want to kind of be all clicked in. But anyway. All right, that's your Timothy Snyder.
The Mark Thompson Show.
I want to tell you and give you a quick update on China. China knows how to handle Trump. What's that?
China.
How
does he say it? It almost sounds like China.
Yeah, that was his. I don't know. I haven't heard him. Yeah. It's like now he has other people say it for him. He's working on the Ballroom. More on the Ballroom a little bit later. I have that Peacefully Resist T-shirt in sage green. Love it. Yeah, this is my
pretty.
Peacefully Resist. And you can get a Peacefully Resist shirt just like this at getmarkmerch.com. We have a bunch of merch that have Peacefully Resist. We also have mugs that say Peacefully Resist. We also have mugs that say Born to Peacefully Protest. We have T-shirts that say Born to Peacefully Protest. And they've got our logo on one side. We have black mugs. We have white mugs. And there are new long sleeve tees coming, everyone, for the fall winter season. So
I do
Courtney's working on that.
I'm sorry, I do like the sage green option that Karen picked, though. That's cool.
Yeah, that really is a strong choice. Very strong choice. Yeah. Getmarkmerch.com. Anyway, so as I was saying, sorry.
Oh, yeah, it looks good. I like it.
Yeah, it really does. That looks great. Mm-hmm. All right. Now, so
The Mark Thompson Show.
The deal with China is that Trump smack talk. Trump really threatened to throw the world into a true, huge, apocalyptic trade war between the two biggest trading partners, the United States and China, with 100% tariff. That's essentially, you're shutting down trade. rare earth minerals, all of these issues involving the soybean farmers. I mean, let's be clear about this. Trump started this. Trump started this 100%. Yet he's now in the back and forth and having to essentially crawl back to where we were before he started this. So that means I have to try to make a deal around soybeans, and I have to make a deal around rare earth minerals. I have to somehow get this back to where we started. Apparently, that has happened. Tony, here's the latest. Share this report from just a couple hours ago.
Errol, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent has been a lot more forthcoming about what's not going to be in this deal than what is going to be in this deal. For example, he says that both the U.S. and China are now walking back some of these really significant threats that they've been making over the past couple of months as they both seek leverage in these ongoing trade negotiations. So China, he says, is going to start buying U.S. soybeans again. They had boycotted the purchase of all U.S. soybeans, which was devastating to the U.S. soybean industry because China is their biggest customer. He says that's now off the table, as is China's vow to place import controls on rare earth minerals, which is a real problem because China controls about 70% of rare earth minerals, and they are critical for building cars and military jets and all kinds of things. On the other side, he says that President Trump is walking back his threat to impose another 100% tariff on Chinese goods on top of the 55% that is already in place. So as to the details of what they did agree to, he said he wants to wait until President Trump and President Xi sit down and talk about all this in person in South Korea later this week. But one thing, Errol, that we do know is that Bessent says that the Chinese have now signed off on a deal to transfer the U.S. operations of TikTok to new owners. So China would no longer control the algorithm and would not have as much access to Americans' data.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay. So that's the long and short of it. By the way, that thing at the end about TikTok is not nothing, because you have to decide. You tell me, Americans, are you okay with what has essentially been the gifting of an immense social media platform? Maybe, Tony, you can tell me. I think it's the biggest social media platform, isn't it? Or maybe Facebook's bigger. I don't know. I mean,
it's easily one of these. But it's funny that it's controlled by the Chinese. This is something else, right?
No, it's controlled by the Chinese, and so this is always the thing that was the problem, that Americans' data is ending up in the hands of the Chinese. But you tell me, are you comfortable with the gifting of this, again, immense social media platform, the world's biggest, to an American who already controls other major media platforms and is a friend of MAGA, is a friend of Trump? Trump okays another deal for Larry Ellison and the Ellison Group, run by his son and father, Larry Ellison, to control, is it Skydance, the takeover of Warner Brothers,
CBS.
That will include, and CBS, CNN, these media instruments that are all there under the umbrella of what will be the empire that is going to far surpass like the empire of a Rupert Murdoch. So you're going to add to that now TikTok. So the algorithms for TikTok are going to change. They just said they're going to change. And you're going to see a lot more right-wing content show up in that. That's just the way it's going to be. I mean, oh, no, Mark, they'll be objective, but really? Will they? There's no track record of that at all. In fact, if you want to not run afoul of this government, you better make sure that that algorithm favors them. This is the way in which capitalism and the growth of these industries and the merging of these industries and the acquisition of these industries, all in media, lead to less and less information for a public that's already incredibly divided. It's a really dangerous thing. So I get back to it. I get that you don't want this data in the hands of the Chinese, but look how our data is being surrendered by giving Peter Thiel and Palantir control of all of this different data that comes out of the U.S. government. All of this is scraped for information about voters, and probably read about the way in which the voter rolls are being surrendered to Washington. They want to see information on voters across the country. And this highly partisan administration, which has actually declared a kind of economic war on blue states and blue cities, you don't think that this data is going to be weaponized? I mean, this is scary stuff. So that's the state of the state. And you can see where China, TikTok, rare earth minerals, soybean farmers, they're all in the same dragnet of stuff being discussed, but they all have very different implications for the future. West Theory says, I was an avid TikTok lover, but so many videos are now AI generated. It's not nearly the same in the last month or so. AI vids ruining it. That's a different thing about content, although I thank you for that, Wes, and thank you for the super chat. It is true, Tony. I feel like, I say Tony because I feel like you're on this maybe more than Kim is, but I am bummed out at how many, these amazing scenes of, it may be everything from a car crash to a cat video, but then you look and you see, oh, it was AI generated.
Yeah.
Have you seen the Stephen Hawking wrestling videos? My God, they are so good. Him doing a half pipe, and it's absolute
that's
perfection.
our Tony. Everybody.
Thanks, Tony.
I'm sorry, I can't help. It's too funny.
Anyway, it's
yes.
it's the way of the internet and the social media world at the moment. So, but that's the latest on the Chinese deal, which does appear to have been handled in the way that they know they handled Trump, which is to flatter him, talk about the great relationship that China and America have. Besant and his team know that they basically just want to get back to where they were before the Mad King started, throwing food in this ridiculous trade war food fight that he just started. So he likes to smack talk other nations. He gets into trouble, and it's really the job of his team to try to undo the damage. But in the way of tariffs, you really can't undo a lot of the damage that he's done. And many of these tariffs are in place. Let's leave China aside. The American economy is going to suffer under these tariffs and under this loss of immigration. You're getting rid of a workforce and a labor force that's critical to the American economy. And there's no question about it. Economists have spoken of it. In fact, even the Fed, when they were lowering interest rates, they made a reference to these things. So the effects and the ongoing way in which these tariffs are going to affect us, it's real. And so stay tuned.
One of the things the only thing that is part of the deal that you didn't mention is fentanyl, because apparently China makes all of the precursors, the key ingredients that go into fentanyl. And so Treasury Secretary Besant says that they've reached a preliminary accord to address China-made fentanyl bound for the United States. They say they have agreed the Chinese will begin helping us with the precursor chemicals for this terrible fentanyl epidemic that's ravaging our country. So that also is included in this trade deal.
As I say, I think a lot of this was just getting back to the start. And the fentanyl thing, I mean, maybe they're doing something. I wouldn't be surprised if they just folded into the announcement and it was just part of the deal. We just, of course, we'll agree to whatever you want of the fentanyl. Yeah. The Chinese position is simple. You know what the Chinese position is? Guys, you're the ones in the U.S. with the insatiable appetite and thirst for our fentanyl and for the drugs. Why don't you handle the demand, and that way the supply won't be such an issue? That's their general disposition in China, and it's not wrong. I mean, both things could happen, and you should try to get cooperation from a friendly government, and I think they're trying to get to friendlier terms on this issue. But it's, again, I think it may be pro forma. It may just be like, oh yeah, we'll make the announcement, and then, nothing happens. We're very used to that in this country.
The good news is that plastic cheap toys will be cheaper for Christmas.
I love my Is it Temu? What is it? Is that what it is, Kim?
I say Timu, you say Temu.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Let's call the whole thing a win.
That's right.
All right.
The Mark Thompson Show.
How about it for a super smart guy? He is the political analyst for iHeartRadio. He's the political analyst for the CBS television stations. He's our pal on Mondays. He's the great Gary Dietrich, everyone. Hi, Gary.
Hey, Mark. And just a word to the wise from all. And I've never ordered from it, but don't plan on this Christmas. Maybe the following Christmas if you're ordering from some of these online shopping gigs. That's all I'm saying.
Do you think my Temu order is going to be held up because of what? Is it tariffs? Is it customs inspection? What is it?
No, I think it's surely monitoring of your conversation with Dietrich every Monday and their concerns about the geopolitical aspirations. And
I see. Oh, wow. I could be targeted personally. Hey, so China is the move of the moment. And play for Gary a little bit of Besant, who was making the rounds on the Sunday shows. Here's a little bit of Besant on this deal.
China is ready to make a trade deal.
Kristen, I can tell you they are, because we just finished 2 days of negotiations, and we've created a framework for the two leaders to discuss on Thursday in Korea.
So that's optimism. President Trump had threatened to impose an additional 100% tariffs on China on November 1st if Beijing goes forward with a plan to put restrictions on rare earth minerals, as you know. If China refuses to pull back those restrictions, Mr. Secretary, can you confirm that President Trump will, in fact, impose those 100% tariffs against China?
A few years ago, I put out...
Well, the reality is that that's already off the table. I was reading about it this morning. Apparently, they've gotten back to good on that, Gary. And to the extent that, I was saying before you got here that Besant and his team are really just trying to get back to where America was with China before the Mad King started a food fight with China. Now, those are my words, not yours. You're far more reportorial and objective than am I. But I really feel as though that's kind of where we are. So the 100% tariffs are off the table, is what I was reading.
Yeah, I'm guessing that they are. But I always felt like both of these things, from China's point of view, the severe restrictions on rare earth materials, and then the Trump 100% was just both, frankly, posturing on both sides. And now we're seeing that, because here's the reality of it, okay? We can joke about Temu and everything else, but it's no secret. Who's the biggest consumer market for all these Chinese goods? Hello, it's the United States, all right? So both sides are very aware, Mark. And that's why we've seen kind of the, you raise the stakes and you bring them back kind of sort of to normal. But, the big kahuna on the table is that rare earth minerals. I mean, there's a lot of things that are happening, some of it behind the scenes, some of it very overt, like Trump's saying that we're going to find some rare earth materials with allies in South America. I mean, they are on warp speed drive to get that rare earth problem solved. And by that, I simply mean lessen the dependency significantly on China. But there's other parts of this that are also important for the United States. For example, soybean buying by the Chinese. They put a kibosh on that. Well, I can tell you, hailing as my family does from Northeast Kansas, hey, those soybean farmers, many of them didn't even have contracts for this year's harvest because of the Chinese essentially boycott. So there's a lot of elements to this that were important.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned the soybean thing. I was about to mention it next, because that was a real thing that happened. I mean, in other words, some of this is posturing. I think you make such a great point. The rare earth mineral boycott, essentially, and the 100% tariff. I mean, you can say that's posturing to get a deal, but the soybean thing, that happened. China cut off its all its business to our soybean farmers, as you know. I mean, that wasn't for just this year. This is forever, is what they were saying. Now, apparently, this deal does have some soybean stuff in it, so maybe, again, that's been walked back. But the lines of supply have already been established in Brazil and then in Argentina. And in Argentina, we just threw $40 billion at the Argentinian economy because there are hedge fund managers who are very much linked to Scott Bessent and this administration who are heavily invested in Argentina. That's why we, America, are investing all this money $40 billion in Argentina. So why do I mention it in relation to the soybeans? Because that has allowed the soybean products in Argentina to be discounted even further to China. And when I say even further, they're now cheaper than the soybean products coming out of the United States. So the real effects of this, Gary, are already in the works in the trade game worldwide.
Yeah, and this thing is so complex, Mark. I mean, now you've got word out of the White House that on Thursday, Trump plans to really pressure Xi on jumping on board some of these Russian sanctions related to Ukraine. So there are so many aspects of this. It's like we used to say at the Kennedy School. I mean, you have to prioritize your negotiating points because you may have 10, 15, or even 20 of them.
Trump is a negotiator who's about a personal relationship. I mean, I think he's pretty much as close to a mobster as we've ever seen. Maybe you could give me the history of politics. I was going to certainly we've ever seen it in the presidency. But in that way that, you know, there's a relationship. We have a relationship here. We have an understanding. And he likes me and I like him and everything's going to be fine. I think beyond that, some of the stuff you talk about is handled by the functionaries for Trump. Isn't that right?
Oh yeah, well that's why, and of course this is typical, right? I mean, what's going to happen on Thursday is there will be. I have no doubt there's going to be some eye to eye between Trump and Xi, but 90% of these agreements are always worked out in advance. The last thing you want is to have the two heads of state you get together and have what happened last time with Putin and Trump. Basically nothing came out of this. I mean, both sides end up looking bad. There's another piece of this Asia trip for Trump is very, very significant. And we may not have time to get into it today, but it's the whole national defense aspect of it. I mean, shoring up our allies in that part of the world, in the South China Sea, for Pacific waterway transit of goods, along with our allies in Australia and Great Britain and even India. This is hugely important. And much of, I think, the behind the scenes of what's happening when Trump's now in Japan today, much of this is ensuring our Pacific Rim allies, hey, you know, yeah, okay, we're focused on South America, we're focused on Europe, Ukraine, etc., Middle East, but we haven't forgotten the Pacific Rim and its vital importance in terms of trade.
Such a great point. Such a great point indeed. I wanted to bring you back home. And Tony, we're going to play, what were we going to play for Gary? I believe I was going to play a little bit of the Adam Schiff video first, and then I'll get to Newsome. I'll get to Newsome's announcement in a moment. But it was Trump talking about Adam Schiff and the fact that he didn't really know if the Justice Department is going after Adam Schiff. You know, I barely met Adam Schiff. I barely know Adam Schiff. I barely know Pam Bondi, whatever she's doing. Play a little bit of it. This is the distinguished President of the United States.
Adam Schiff is one of the lowest forms of scum I've ever dealt with in politics. He's a horrible human being, very dishonest person. I have no idea what's going on. You tell me that he's going to be indicted. I don't know. You could ask Pam. I don't know if she could say it. Probably you are allowed to say it, but I wouldn't know about that. I can only tell you he's a very bad, I think he's actually a sick person. Do you want to talk about that?
We're not going to comment on any grand jury that's open. We can't legally.
Okay, so there you have it. And I don't know. The discourse from the executive office has not particularly been elevated during this administration.
Well, I think we can have a lot of unanimous agreement about that, Mark. Okay. I mean, even including people on the GOP side. You know what's so interesting about all that stuff and all the bullying and all the talking and this? You know what's weird about it is, you know, they're talking about even on this Asian trip. I mean, people really want to be on the right side of Trump for obvious reasons, right? I mean, on a personal level, as you pointed out a couple of minutes ago, and on a policy level, you don't want to get on this guy's bad side. And case 1A, Adam Schiff. I mean, you know, he's a guy, there's no redemption going on there in that relationship by all accounts.
I will just say this. I really wanted to, maybe you can touch on just the way in which there does seem to be an expressed enemies list. I mean, it may not literally be a list, but it doesn't need to be. It's constantly reiterated by this president. Adam Schiff is scum. Adam Schiff's a liar. Adam Schiff is, has broken the law. Adam Schiff, needs to be dealt with, etc. But there is a sense that, and I'm sure there are those who very much feel as though there's a courage associated with going up against this president. With Adam Schiff's, Gavin Newsom, maybe it's party specific. It would seem so far. But for just the reasons that you've said, they may turn the Justice Department on you. They could be ruinous in what they may do to you. But for all those reasons and more, you feel a responsibility and a certain courageousness associated with going up against the president.
Well, and look, we have to be honest. Politics is almost always a mixed motivation, Mark. I mean, there's just no getting around that. I don't care. Pick the political figure. You can show, well, that was kind of weaselish right here, I mean, Adam Schiff had his motivations for being anti-Trump as well. It did. There's no question that it helped elevate his profile nationally and in California, helped him gain that state U.S. Senate seat. I mean, that's just the reality of it, right? And so you could say he was courageous on one hand, and also there's a certain political advantage for him, in his own party, et cetera. And so there's that. I think it's also really interesting. If you talk to the legal scholars on this, which of course, as you know, I'm not, I made a decided point of not venturing down the other side of Harvard Square to Harvard Law School, because I didn't want to be working on what's the definition of is it really is, to quote our former President Clinton. So, but my point, Mark, is simply, there's a lot of people who say, you know what, Trump should, even if he really wanted to go after Schiff and see him indicted and see him convicted, he's not helping that cause by continuing to go after him publicly, because defense counsel is going to say, see, it's just a vendetta. There's nothing really, no legal points of interest here. It's just a cause celeb for Trump. But, that doesn't seem to stop him, even though it'd be efficacious legally.
No, well, I mean, and we've even seen the fact that those prosecutors, who are MAGA prosecutors, some of them are very much in the Trump camp historically, they have come to the president, or in one way or another, through Bondi, and said, there's just no case here. We can't bring it. And they're fired, and they bring in somebody who, in this case, most recently was an insurance lawyer, never had prosecuted a case, and they let her prosecute it. And so that's kind of the state of things. But I wanted to move on to Gavin Newsom, and then I'm going to get to Venezuela. Gavin Newsom, and you'll really, I was talking over the weekend about this, or maybe it was earlier today. The days run together, Gary, but the idea is that I said to someone, I want to talk to Dietrich about this. He'll have a great take on it. So this is the moment. Gavin Newsom's asked about political aspirations, et cetera. Run it, if you would, please, Tony.
You're not afraid to go into red states.
No.
When I saw you slinging shots behind the coffee bar, I thought this guy might run for president.
I have no idea. The idea that a guy who got 960 on his SAT, that still struggles to read scripts, that was always in the back of the classroom, the idea that you even throw that out is in and of itself extraordinary. Who the hell knows? I'm looking forward to who presents themselves in 2028. And who meets that moment? And that's the question for the American people.
Is it fair to say, after the 2026 midterms, you're going to give it serious thought?
Yeah, I'd be lying otherwise. I'd just be lying, and I can't do that.
Governor, you have long said that if you ever run for the White House, you need a compelling why, a reason. Are you moving closer to figuring out your own why and your own decision?
Yeah, Nietzsche said, if you have a compelling why, you can endure any how. And so I think the biggest challenge for anyone who runs for any office is people see right through you if you don't have that why. You're doing it for the wrong reasons. And so, look, well, that fate will determine that.
You certainly seem to like being on the ground in South Carolina, I have to say that. Seeing you up close, you were having a good time.
I happen to, and thank God, I'm in the right business. I love people. I actually love people.
So tell me why, maybe he's just responding to a question. The thing I wanted to ask you about specifically was, why, if you're a Gavin Newsom, not even specific to Gavin Newsom, why the hell would you want to express presidential aspirations this early in the run? I mean, it just, there's so much real estate between now and there. Explain to me the political calculus there.
Yeah. Well, first off, with all due respect to my CBS colleague, Robert Costa, it's the notion that Gavin Newsom's going to wait until after next year's midterms to seriously consider a White House candidacy, come on, that's like saying you're going to, I don't know, get authentic diamonds off of Temu. I mean, it's like you're you're sitting here. I mean, people who haven't been listening to the first part of the segment, go back and you'll understand the reference. All right, here's the thing, Mark. South Carolina. Oh, I don't know. I just randomly, me and my team throw darts, and it happens to, I don't know, be the first primary state last time around. We just happen to go there and want to go behind a barista bar and pull shots. I mean, it's just, I have to just say, with all due respect to Robert, he's a great guy and he's a great journalist. But of course he's running for president. I mean, it's just absurd at this notion.
No, we've known he's running for years, sort of. But
the point of the matter is, Mark, he was running for. Here was my big tip off. Okay, this is going to happen. When I was down at that Reagan Library for the Republican presidential candidate debate, okay, during the primaries, all right. And Gavin Newsom showed up in the spin room, unannounced, uninvited, with his four big guys in his security team. I said, I've never seen anybody from the opposing party show up in a opposing party's presidential candidate spin room. I said, game on. I mean, he is full on going for the White House. Now, why is he going out so early? I think it's quite simple, Mark. In this cycle, this doesn't come to surprise anybody. There is a battle for the heart and soul of the Democratic Party. Okay, the schism, the disappointment over last time around, and he's been very vocal about that. And with elbows not so unsharp towards the former vice president and all that, who may well be a competitor this time around. I think posturing now and trying to present oneself as the de facto leader of the party. Normally, it would be your most recent president, maybe your most recent vice president. I mean, the closest the Democrats have now is a guy, Barack Obama, who's been quite a ways out of the White House. And he is still seen as the closer. I mean, he's the guy on Saturday that was in New Jersey and Virginia for the Democratic gubernatorial candidates. Bill Clinton, I think most people in his party say his day has come and passed. So my point is simply, Mark, I think you get out early. The other thing that does, it begins to, he's already taken on staff, by the way, from the former vice president's campaigns. So you scoop up valued staff people, you get in early on the endorsement process, you start gathering chits in key states like, yes, South Carolina, and you look to line up the big money donors and say, you know what, right now, this guy may be our best shot.
That makes perfect sense. Thank you. That's exactly the drill down that I wanted. So let me get to Venezuela. This really looks as though it is a war that Donald Trump wants. I'm seeing, huge ships being sent there, right? I mean, I think the largest aircraft carrier in the fleet is
the Gerald Ford is headed into the Gulf. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, with all of these support vessels as well, it looks as though there is a serious threat of regime change, or at least an expressed desire to change the regime in Venezuela. And there is support for it, it would seem, also among some high-profile GOP folk. Play a little bit of Lindsey Graham. This is him yesterday.
The nation. Senator,
thank you. Good morning.
On Friday, Defense Secretary Hegseth ordered the deployment of the Navy's most advanced aircraft carrier, the Gerald Ford, to Latin America. President Trump was asked if he planned to ask Congress for a declaration of war. Take a listen.
I don't think we're going to necessarily ask for a declaration of war. I think we're just going to kill people that are bringing drugs into our country. Okay? We're going to kill them. They're going to be like dead.
You don't need an aircraft carrier to hit drug boats. Are land strikes planned?
Yeah, I think that's a real possibility. I think President Trump's made a decision that Maduro, the leader of Venezuela, is an indicted drug trafficker, that it's time for him to go, that Venezuela and Colombia have been safe havens for narco-terrorists for too long. And President Trump told me yesterday that he plans to brief members of Congress when he gets back from Asia about future potential military operations against Venezuela and Colombia. So there will be a congressional briefing about a potential expanding from the sea to the land. I support that idea, but I think he has all the authority he needs. Senator Gallego on another network accused President Trump and our military of committing murder by attacking these drug boats. To our men and women in uniform, you're not murdering anybody. You're making America safer by going after a narco-terrorist. You're following lawful orders. When President Bush 41 took Ortega out in Panama, Reagan went into Grenada to deal with the Cuban influence from Grenada in our backyard. He has all the authority in the world. This is not murder. This is protecting America from being poisoned by narco-terrorists coming from Venezuela and Colombia.
Well, so that's the flex. I mean, I would argue that those things to which he's referred were also violations of a constitutionally mandated requirement. But yet again, it seems to be the way we are prosecuting wars these days. So let's leave that aside and just get to this policy. It seems this president who kind of rode in on I'm going to end all wars wouldn't be picking a fight in Venezuela. I smell Marco Rubio on this. I wonder if you can just give me your thoughts on this.
Yeah, I think here's the thing people would be shocked about, Mark. I really, at this juncture, nobody in Congress is expecting to hear a briefing that includes American boots on the ground. I think it's going to be far more strategic than that, far more in some ways demonstrative in terms of just, look, you guys have a chance, you leaders of these nations, we're done playing around. Yes, we can catch the boats coming across, but we know where they're coming from. And there's a lot of tracking and tracing that goes on with this whole drug industry, of course, for decades. They know where the drugs are being assembled or put together. They know where they're being packaged. They know where they're coming from. I think what we're likely to see, Mark, it looks like at this point, and it's hard to see why you'd send the Gerald R. Ford for another reason, but some strategic strikes on drug production facilities is probably the next step. Could that be on the soil in Colombia and Venezuela? It may well be. But the notion that we're going to actually have a declaration of war and see, navies and armies and air forces go at each other, I think that's, at this juncture at least, highly unlikely.
All right, now I have a personal question to ask you. We're going to a wedding in a place I've always wanted to go. I wanted to go to this place for 40 years, and that is Colombia. I've never been. It's a beautiful country. The people are beautiful, and we're going to this wedding, and we're going next week.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, and we're not going on the Gerald R. Ford. We're going just on, an American Airlines flight. Yeah.
You didn't get the invite for the Gerald R. Ford? Wow.
Yeah, that's not really the way I wanted to see it. I kind of just want. So, your advice?
Well, I mean, far be it from me to be, putting you and your delightful significant other in harm's way, Mark. I will tell you this from an official perspective, and I tell this to people all the time. From an official perspective, you are well served to check the U.S. State Department's website. I mean, that is considered the definitive source, and they're quite detailed sometimes in talking about, this region of this country would be okay, but over here where it's concerned, because that's their job, right? And they do a pretty good job at that.
Sadly, they're all furloughed.
Well, I'm not sure let's put it this way. I'm not sure how much this has changed in the last week or two, but I will tell you this more broadly. And I think you're well served, Mark, to consider this part of it carefully. There are even in places like, heavily American tourist spots like Cabo San Lucas, where drug cartels are now reportedly very overtly saying, look, because they're feeling the heat, right? And they are in Mexico as well. The drug cartels are feeling the heat from the Trump administration. There's no doubt about it. To the degree to which they want to make a statement against Americans, who are in their countries, that's something to be aware of. That's all I can say.
Wow.
I don't know the specific spot you're going to be at. Probably well not to say so. But I would do your best to simply check with official sources the best you can to ascertain whether that particular locale is one that is safe. Mark, you're a smart guy. I sadly have met several Americans in the last year or two who seem wildly naive about going to other countries as Americans, and that somehow, the U.S. military, if they get in a bad spot, are just going to swoop in, and rescue them. And sadly, for the most part, that is just not possible. Right.
If I were taken, they would sweep my social media, realize that I'm not a MAGA guy, and I'd be left. I'm telling you, man. That's the way the new America is.
Well,
but yeah.
On a personal note, Mark, I simply wish you Godspeed, seriously, and safety, whatever you guys decide to do. And you will be certainly in my thoughts and prayers until you.
Oh my God! I'm getting more frightened. I'm needing thoughts and prayers. This is scary. I'm telling you.
Well, listen.
Yeah.
Listen. I'm serious. We are in a place now in South America. Come on, where we haven't been in a long time. I mean, when you're sending the most advanced, Navy ship in the world to that region, and you're talking about potential strikes on land. I mean, what you know. That's not nothing, as we say in Washington, D.C.
All right. Well, with that, we wrap up. Gary, love your take. Thank you. You're so generous with your time and with your opinions. And I think you kind of redirect us to magnetic north. How long for this shutdown of government? When do you see it lifting?
Well, I thought it was interesting, Mark, that yesterday the largest federal employees union came out specifically endorsing the continuing resolution, which is, has already been passed by the House. Now the House and Senate Republicans are saying, well, let's just extend it to the end of the year because now we're getting close to the Thanksgiving date that it was. I think the pressure is going to grow on both sides to do that, which has been common in the past. You kick the can down to the end of the year. You have a continuing resolution to at least take the pressure off now as we head into the holidays. I think that's probably growing increasingly likely.
So the political damage is kind of shared at this point.
Yeah, I would say it probably is.
Yeah. Good stuff, pal. Thank you so much. We'll see you next Monday. All right. Gary Dietrich, everybody. Thank you. And Gary, of course, is brought to us by Bill Campbell at Remax Gold. If you're relocating to or from Northern California, you need a highly respected real estate professional. Bill Campbell is your guy. Remax Gold. You can call or even text Bill, 530-448-7474, 530-448-7474. Thank you, Bill Campbell of Remax Gold, for bringing us Gary Dietrich. Bill Campbell, Remax Gold.
The Mark Thompson Show.
Well, I have loved our visit with Gary, and thank you, everybody. I'm just looking at comments. I'll try to get to Sal the Shoemaker says, got to make this bigger. I can't see anything.
Says, I wasn't aware the Dems brought a bill that would have paid all federal workers during the shutdown, and the R's voted it down. Didn't make the news.
Both sides have done that. Both sides have done that. Both sides have brought bills, and the other side has voted them down. So yeah. The Dems did absolutely bring a bill saying, let's pay for those who are federal employees who have been, who are out of work during this time, during the government shutdown. So both.
Joe Fish, Sal the Shoemaker, Joe
Sal.
Box, and Little Anthony.
Thank you, Sal the Shoemaker, for
Speaking of paying people, wasn't there that Trump named the person that came forward with $130 million to fund the military member salaries?
Yeah, there's more that is laughable about that, but he's a major donor to the Trump. Timothy Mellon is his name. He's this billionaire financial backer of Trump, and he was the anonymous private donor who gave $130 million to the U.S. government to help pay the troops. The reason I say it's laughable is I don't think that's nearly enough money. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's a weird thing, but this just in. The amount of money required to pay those troops is well in excess of $130 million. I think it comes out, if you pencil it out, to like $90 per person. Isn't that right, Kim? I think that's what I read.
I don't know.
But Mellon lives in Wyoming, keeps a low pro. He's a significant supporter of RFK Jr., and he donated millions to RFK Jr.'s presidential campaign, also given him money for that anti-vaccine group, Children's Health Defense, it's called. So he's heavy into what's being repped by this administration. The donation, they say, at the Pentagon, if you believe anything that comes out of the Pentagon these days, was made to offset the cost to service members of the shutdown. But again, I think it just doesn't quite pencil out.
Yeah.
Mark, your knowledge is vast. When do you sleep? Richard Delamater asks. Well, first of all, thank you, and a big shout out for recognizing how brilliant I am.
Big shout out.
Yes, but the reality is I don't sleep, and that's the problem, and that's why I am concerned about my health. Did Mark just mention a fall-winter Mark Thompson show meetup? I mentioned the long-sleeve tees coming out. I didn't mention a meetup. I'd love to do one. It's a question of organizing it. Tony is mission critical, believe it or not, because Tony has to, bring everybody in and keep it going smoothly.
Thanks, Tony.
And I have to kind of clear whatever dates I have with Tony first, right? Yeah. We had a date scheduled and then we backburnered it. I'm terribly sorry, but we'll get it back. We're way overdue. And Kim, I don't know why you can't make it happen.
I blame you.
I just don't understand why you can't make sure that we get a meetup done, Kim.
I blame you.
I just don't.
Just tack on organizing that to my list of duties.
Oh my gosh. Tony, Kim has so much to do on this show.
Kim, how are you?
All right.
Outrageous.
Unbelievable what's going on. I also wanted to mention, in addition to the revelation around that Timothy Mellon, the reclusive billionaire who donated money, a kind of Bay Area, we came out of a Bay Area radio station originally, KGO Radio, and a Bay Area figure of sorts. I think I used to see her around Half Moon Bay and stuff. June Lockhart, the beloved mother figure from Lassie and Lost in Space, two classic television shows. She passed away over the weekend at 100. She, or at least the news came out over the weekend. I think she died on Thursday. And she was Ruth Martin on Lassie. That was in the late 50s and early to mid 60s. Then she jumped on board as the mom on the Robinson family trip through space, Lost in Space. And she said that she was nothing like the woman she portrayed. She said, I love going to rock and roll, going to concerts. I've driven army tanks and flown in hot air balloons.
Wow.
I go plane gliding, the ones with no motors. I do a lot of things that don't go with my image of sort of this quiet, warm mom. She did a lot of acting, of course, and she shifted to television after movies. And again, I think she was the third woman, they note here, to play the female lead in Lassie. Are you familiar with Lassie, Tony? It's a show about a dog.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a
See, fell in the well and all that, right?
Lassie, come home.
But look how beautiful an actress she was as a young woman. And then she became this, always beautiful till the very end, but she kind of became more the look of the mom. And then she started her show business career at 8 years old.
Wow.
Dancing in a children's ballet at the Metropolitan Opera House. She was in the 1938 production of A Christmas Carol, playing the daughter of Bob Cratchit and his wife. And Bob Cratchit and his wife in that production played by her parents. She was married and divorced twice to John Maloney, a physician and father of her daughters, and then she married architect John Lindsay. And she talked about Lassie, and she said, even though I sometimes mock the show, how wonderful that in a career there is one role for which you are known. Many actors work all their lives and never have one part that is really theirs. June Lockhart, 100 years old, passes away. The other news of the weekend, I thought, was, let me see if I can find it here. No, there's just so much here. I don't even, Here it is. It comes to us in a special edition of Law and Disorder. Tony, can you do it? This is a special turbo edition, follow-up of Law and Disorder.
In the criminal justice system, the people,
pimps, addicts, thieves, bums, winos, girls who can't keep an address, and men who don't care,
are represented by two separate yet equally important groups.
A cop, a flatfoot, a bull, a dick, John Law. You're the fuzz, the heat, you're poison, you're trouble, you're bad news.
These are their stories.
It was a brazen robbery of the jewelry out of the Louvre. We talked about the nature of that jewelry, how historically significant it was and is, the nature of the emeralds and the jewelry that encrusted the crown, and these other things that were key to that Louvre gallery heist. They came in with the maintenance man vests. They came in on that conveyor along the side of the building.
Yep.
This heist, it was so ballsy to do it during the day, during the morning, on a Sunday morning. They did it. They got in and out. What did we say? 17 minutes? Was that what it was, Kim?
It was
Something
fast.
like that?
It was really
Yeah,
fast.
I think it was 7 minutes.
Yeah, I think it was 7
minutes.
too.
Knew there
7.
was a 7 in it.
Yeah.
Okay. 7 minutes. Anyway, 2 suspects arrested in connection with this theft. Oh, all right. Fans of arrest. The 2 suspects were arrested on Saturday evening. They were taken into custody, and one of the men was preparing to leave the country from the Paris Charles de Gaulle airport.
I mean, that sounds smart. Is that not what you would do? If
Maybe,
you just
I might stay away from where they're like official people checking stuff, but all right. They apparently got this guy. They're not able to tell us much because I think they're building cases and they, but the 2 men are in their 30s. Both were known to the cops. And remember, we talked about this when we first broke the story along with everybody else. We didn't break it like any kind of, you know what I mean? When the story first broke, I should say. And again, one of these guys trying to go to Algeria is where he was headed, was busted at the airport. And one of the suspects identified through DNA traces. Wow. So these guys have some kind of track record with the law. Otherwise, they wouldn't have the DNA. They had 150 different samples at the scene. Now, as they build a case, the suspects can be held in police custody in France up to 96 hours. Again, they stole over $100 million worth of jewelry from the Louvre, the world's most visited museum. And this basket lift they used, they forced to open a window, they smashed display cases, and they fled. They left behind that one piece, right? That one crown was left behind, but another was
on the
taken.
way out. They dropped one on the way out.
That was it, right? They dropped it on the way out. Thank you. Yeah. A special police unit in charge of armed robberies and serious burglaries and art thefts made these arrests. And that's how this whole thing went down.
And they're still looking for other suspects in this
Yeah, there
case.
were more than 2 involved. In fact, one of the things that the French police or the gendarmes are saying is that all this leak of information associated with the Louvre heist is not helping them. Like while they're trying to get this investigation done, there are little drips and drabs of information coming out, who they might be looking for, what relationship that person might have to the Louvre Museum, that kind of thing. So again, some of France's crown jewels, and historians compare it to the burning of the Notre Dame Cathedral in 2019, like that level of damage. They are beginning the process of recovering this, I would think. So they took an emerald necklace, earrings tied to Empress Marie-Louise, who was Napoleon Bonaparte's second wife, a brooch, corsage, bow brooch. When was the last time you wore a large corsage bow brooch? Do you wear those, Kim?
Been a while.
Seems like it's fallen out of style. You know what I mean?
So,
Um,
in the 80s, we used to wear large brooches at the top of our buttoned large shirts.
the 1880s or the 19?
yeah.
Well, it's really anyway. The update is 2 arrested. There's still more on the loose. That is Law and Disorder.
Tune in again next time for more Law and Disorder on the Mark Thompson Show.
All right, that's it. Let's roll. Hey, let's be careful out there.
Right on. Smash the like button if you just joined us.
With your iron rod.
Glad to have you here. It helps us in the world of YouTube to have the thumbs up in relation to the number of views you have. I saw a good heist movie, says Nullifidian, called Flawless with Michael Caine and Demi Moore. A lot of fun. Well, I don't know that.
I haven't seen it.
Flawless. Huh. Very cool. Congratulations on Heist and Heist. Yeah, I'll get to that Colombia thing in a second. So China is giving him what he wants, says Warden June. Feels like it's a win-win, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. Hit the thumbs up and then subscribe. That's right, says Ricky O'Bear. Thank you, Ricky O'Bear 1. Appreciate that. There it is, Michael Caine and Demi Moore, Flawless. Well, and apparently it's gotten at least a good review here on the show. I think the movie's been out a while, right? It's been probably a decade or longer.
2007?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
But there's some great heist movies. I love a good heist movie. Man, it's just, you know. Maduro's fascist regime is collapsing. Venezuelans are going to overthrow Maduro. Well, this won't happen. Won't help. Antifa Carl says this. But you're right. I mean, there is...
Smash it with your iron rod.
Well, maybe they'll smash it with their iron rod. I don't know. But the point is that I think you're right, Antifa Carl. I think that Maduro is teetering. But this is a scary time. And, you know, I can't believe we're going next week to Colombia. I mean, this is a big thing for us. Is we're going to see our friend's wedding. And I've always wanted to go to Colombia. So Gary said, go to the State Department website, and they'll tell you what the situation is in Colombia, and you can decide whether or not you want to go. It's usually pretty good information. So did you find it, Tony? So this is Colombia, and
reconsider travel.
Reconsider travel. Wow.
Yeah.
This is a
highlighting
level 3.
Kidnapping or hostage taking.
Oh, goodness. Well, I don't know how comfortable I am with you going, actually.
Wow, this is really brutal. Yeah, you're right. Reconsider travel, it says. Crime, terrorism, unrest, and kidnapping or hostage taking. Do not travel to these places. The Colombia-Venezuela border region, crime, kidnapping. Yeah. I'm not going to be at the border region. Violent crime is common in many areas in Colombia. This includes murder, assault, and robbery. That would really kill my buzz, man. Any one of those.
Are you going to be at a resort?
I'll be at a major hotel, yeah.
Are you going to be traveling around, like seeing things, or can you just stay at the resort?
I mean, we had planned on traveling around seeing things, but now I don't know. Oh, my God.
Maybe you should just hang tight at the resort.
Yeah, we could do that. I mean, I have no problem doing that. I mean, it's really to see friends that I haven't seen in so long. Bay Area friends, actually, from the San Francisco Bay Area. Really, really sucks. I don't know. Well, thank you for that. That's a cold slap in the face on my plan. Stay at the hotel, says Shadow Producer Calvin Wall.
Maybe fine.
Yeah. Major resorts are pretty safe, or go with groups. Yeah. I always feel like I can run faster than Courtney, so I know they can get her.
Oh,
but I'll probably get away.
No.
I'm just saying that.
Who is having that conversation?
I'm not having the conversation. I'm just having the thought. Will we have a meetup? We have concepts of a Mark Thompson Show meetup, says Jim.
So just a yes or no, you still do not have a plan?
I have concepts of a plan.
Yeah. There is no kidnapping going on in Colombia. That's full of bull, Mark.
Oh.
Don't believe the hype, says Chaplain Fred. I don't know. You got to believe a chaplain. Thank you for the super chat, Chaplain Fred. Well, I don't know. I'm scared, but, I'm scared of everything all the time. So maybe it'll just kind of, melt into the other stuff I'm scared of. When we come back, I want to play you a little of the back and forth from someone who I think really isn't just smack talking for the sake of smack talking back to the President of the United States. I'm talking about J.B. Pritzker. He said some really important stuff, penetrating stuff, good stuff, and I want you to hear it, and we'll play it for you when we come back. Kim's News is next. Before I get to Kim's News, because I do like to delay in one way or another. By the way, did you notice I was wearing my new credibility glasses to the Timothy Snyder thing?
Yeah,
I tried to really show my credibility. Is what I tried to do. I wanted to give you one little piece of something that, if you're annoyed about it like I am, you'll appreciate this. So let me just do that.
The Mark Thompson Show.
There is the thing you always wanted. I know when you looked at Washington, when you thought, oh, the government is doing some things for me, but it's not doing enough for me in the way of giving me in Washington a big, expensive ballroom. And so this president is finally hearing the voice of the people. We're going to have a big ballroom. And I will tell you this right up front, and I don't know if you'll hear this from many people, but there's no way that you pay what was to have been $200 million, then it's $300 million, then it's $350 million to build a ballroom. This is more than a ballroom. This is a lot more than a ballroom. Now, I don't know if they're building a bunker underneath it. I don't know if there are certain ways in which they are doing things associated with this that are not sort of pure ballroom related, but there is no way that you spend $350 million on a ballroom. It just doesn't happen.
Doesn't it also now have to include a whole new East Wing?
Well, it may, but that also doesn't require that kind of money. There is grift on a level. Everything is grift. Everything is a transaction with this administration. Everything and everyone is corrupt. But most of all, the very top. So I promise you, in this new construction, at minimum, there is massive corruption and grift and skimming right off the top. But let's just get back to the ballroom for a moment. So, okay, well, there's skimming. Who cares? There's corrupt. Everybody, okay. Apparently, there is this. Embarrassing flaws emerge in Trump's new White House design. The controversial White House design apparently is full of flaws, Kim. Architects have looked at this design and they see many issues with it. That's right. It doesn't pencil out. You know, they look at these blueprints and they see, I don't know what people were thinking here. They see a slapshod job. And I know what you're thinking. A slapshod job? Something that doesn't really pencil out? Something that really seems as though it was just thrown together? That doesn't seem like it's Donald Trump. He wouldn't do that.
Seem like they're cutting corners. I mean, $350 million? Really?
Exactly. So it's hard to believe you could lay out that kind of dough and still run into these sorts of problems.
Agreed.
But these sorts of problems have indeed emerged. And I will share with you a couple of the comments of architects. A staircase leading up from the south lawn directly into a brick wall, and at least two woefully misaligned windows that appear to open out onto one another. Demolition of the existing structure, which began Monday, has prompted fierce outcries, noted here, as cranes and backhoes were seen tearing down sections of the exterior cladding and ripping windows off their hinges.
No.
At one of the most instantly recognizable historic sites on the planet. The scale of destruction is now even visible from space. Tony was just showing you some of those pictures on the satellite. The White House can't seem to decide how many guests the new ballroom will actually accommodate.
Whoever is producing this thing, I mean, come on.
They said 650, but now they're saying 1,350. Once Trump has flattened the old East Wing, he has toyed with naming this $300 million new venue after himself. Yes, it's a...
What?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The plans were first announced months ago. Backlash to the start of construction has been swift, but it has moved on apace. They are cranking it up. To take a literal wrecking ball to the White House, it's grotesque. Just so grotesque, said that Morning Joe host, Joe, whatever his name is. Scarborough?
Mm-hmm.
It's not yours, Mr. President. You rent it from the American people for 4 years. Oh, wow. You really get the memo slowly, Joe. You should go back down to Mar-a-Lago and talk to Donald Trump. The rest of the criticism is the kind of criticism that you're used to seeing. I thought the notable criticism was that from architects. Trump has not followed established procedure for renovations on the White House grounds by essentially just going ahead, bypassing the usual reviews from federal groups like the National Capital Planning Commission. He's just gone ahead with the construction. And now the size of this endeavor, which is already massive, has grown. And the time of construction now is being suggested as 2029. This is being talked about and viewed as the creation of a presidential palace. And so many have a huge issue with this. But, of course, there are the MAGA crew and the apologists for Donald Trump, like MAGA Mike Johnson and beyond, who say, there's always been construction at the White House, one thing or another. We talked about the basketball court. That's being talked about. Obama put in a basketball. Obama put in like a portable basketball thing that Mo Kelly was talking about last week on the show. It was like $1,000. Okay. Come on, guys.
I saw a meme over the weekend that made me laugh, that people seem to be more upset about the changing of the Cracker Barrel logo than they are about the ripping down of the East Wing of the White House. It's like, if you're really nostalgic for history.
Yeah, that's
really
a great.
Yeah.
That's a great take. A great take. Yeah, all of this is being done, under cover of darkness. He can hold up pictures and plans or the rest, but I mean, this money that's being privately funded, and that's paraded around like it's a good thing. I mean, privately funded means that there's a quid pro quo. Google contributes $25 million. Palantir contributes $25 million. Meta. These are all companies with business before the American government. You think that they're just excited about a new ballroom when they come to visit Washington? No, they expect something for that money. So the whole deal is dirty, but I promise you, the money, as it continues to grow, 200, then 300 million, then 350 million, there's grift here on a major scale, and the Donald Trump incorporated world of the Trump family is part of that grift as well. But most of concern to me is that they can focus on that while the government is closed, while those who are recipients of SNAP and SNAP payments, they lose out on those. It's an abomination.
Yeah.
So, all right. Smash the like button if you would. It helps us in the world of YouTube.
Smash
I'll also
it
just
with
mention
your
that
iron rod.
I am drinking the greatest cup of coffee. It's just dark, beautiful coffee. It's Coachella Valley coffee, and I want you to be part of this magic. Coachella Valley coffee.
So good.
It's a clarity blend that I have. I love that clarity blend. I've got an issue. It's really my new thing. Although I also love the Ocotillo espresso. The sunrise blend is really good. Yeah, when you get me in, I really love it. It's the best coffee on earth. And as you know, I've drunk coffee with kings and princes, my friend. From the Atlas Mountains of Morocco to the Riyads of Same, to the Champs-Élysées, to the Russian tea room in New York. I've had espresso and tea in the finest venues. And this is the finest coffee on earth. Please have a sip with me. Get it at CoachellaValleyCoffee.com. Use our discount code MARKT at checkout, and you'll get 10% off anything you get on the website. They have merch. They have all kinds of different coffees. You can even get a subscription. Use the discount code MarkT at checkout for a 10% discount on anything on the site. CoachellaValleyCoffee.com. Mark Thompson Show.
The Mark Thompson Show.
On the Mark Thompson Show, I'm Kim McAllister. As Mark mentioned, the news sponsored by CoachellaValleyCoffee.com. President Trump is in Japan today on the latest leg of his Asia diplomacy tour. He met earlier with the Japanese emperor at Tokyo's Imperial Palace, just getting new palatial ideas for Washington, D.C. Later tonight, he'll be meeting with the country's new prime minister as he continues to focus on trade, investment, and defense spending. Later this week, President Trump is set to meet with the Chinese leader Xi Jinping in South Korea, with a U.S. envoy saying trade talks with China are getting very close now to an agreement. A U.S. warship is now docked in Trinidad and Tobago as tensions increase in the Caribbean. The USS Gravely arrived in Port of Spain on Sunday and will remain there until Thursday. This comes as the aircraft carrier, the USS Gerald R. Ford, moves closer to Venezuela. Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro is criticizing the carrier's movement, saying the United States is preparing for what he called a new eternal war against his country. The United States has recently carried out several strikes on alleged drug boats in the Caribbean.
Crazy.
Hurricane Melissa nearing Jamaica, expected to make landfall as an extremely dangerous Category 5 storm. Forecasters are warning the storm will cause catastrophic flash flooding and landslides, triggering up to 40 inches of rain. The hurricane is expected to make landfall in Jamaica early Tuesday, packing winds of more than 160 miles per hour. The Senate returning today. No new votes scheduled, though, with the government shutdown now in its 27th day. Democrats and Republicans remain deadlocked over the Affordable Care Act subsidies, which are set to expire at the end of December. Meanwhile, government funding for food assistance will run out for about 42 million people come November 1st. Happy Thanksgiving to the poor people.
Unreal.
President Trump did not rule out the possibility of running for a third term in 2028, but he did dismiss the idea of running as a candidate for the vice presidency. The president said he would love to do it when asked about another bid for president, but also redirected attention to who he referred to as very good people in the Republican Party. He's talking Rubio and Vance. There's a new poll out today showing the race for the New York City mayor tightening with just over a week to go until Election Day. Suffolk University out of Boston says Governor Andrew Cuomo has cut Zohran Mamdani's lead in half in their latest poll. Mamdani now leading by 10 points over Cuomo, 44% to 34%. Republican Curtis Sliwa holding 11% of the vote in this poll, 7% remaining undecided.
I do hug and kiss people casually.
That's the only reason I hope Cuomo does well, because we have that drop. That's the only reason.
There is another new poll suggesting California's Proposition 50 will pass. A new Emerson College survey of California voters finds 57% support for the redistricting measure, while 37% oppose it. While factoring in undecided voters, support for Prop 50 jumps to 60%, with 40 opposed. So it looks like it's in good shape. Speaking of which, Governor Gavin Newsome warning about ICE agents potentially showing up at polling places. He is wondering if that could discourage Latino voters in California. This comes with a little more than a week to go until the special election to decide Prop 50. Last week, Governor Newsome said the Trump administration could send immigration agents to polling places to try to intimidate voters and soften the turnout. In September, the Latino Community Foundation surveyed 1,200 Latino registered voters. 53% they said they plan to vote in person. More than half said they would vote on Election Day on November 4th. In Indiana, the governor Mike Braun pushing for the state's congressional maps to be redrawn. Braun issuing a statement today announcing a special legislative session to protect Hoosiers from efforts in other states that seek to diminish their voice in Washington and ensure their representation in Congress is fair. The White House has lobbied for the Hoosier state to redraw its congressional lines, with Vice President Vance traveling to the state twice and President Trump speaking with lawmakers directly about redistricting earlier this month.
It's interesting, too, on the redistricting thing. They are running into some problems with redistricting plans in red states. There are a couple of them. So even as you're talking about that, the redistricting article I was seeing, and I'm just trying to find it now, is the one I was reading earlier suggested that is this in Indiana and Kansas, even as they're talking about this gerrymandering, was this your point? And I was looking at the same time you were doing the story.
Go ahead.
The idea was that there are problems with the votes. They just don't have the votes essentially to make it happen. And so as you know, this is a contagion that has taken over American politics now. The redistricting and gerrymandering that is aggressively being done started in Texas. California's got the answer, and now you see it in other states, the Carolinas, etc. In Indiana and Kansas, where Republican lawmakers don't have sufficient votes to pass these GOP-friendly congressional maps, there may be problems. In Indiana, more than a dozen Senate Republicans oppose this effort. They cite potential strategic drawbacks to these mid-cycle redistricting efforts and their fairness concerns, believe it or not, being expressed by some GOP members in Indiana. Kansas, they have a similar problem. Struggle to secure enough votes for a special session, with moderate Republicans and some party members resisting this push to redistrict. So not every state, even red state, is on board with this plan. I was just reading about this earlier, and so I'm glad you brought it up because I wanted to integrate it into the conversation. So again, we'll see where it all pencils out, but there are at least a couple of spots in America where there now is sufficient pushback or insufficient votes, if you want to think of it that way, such that it may not happen.
First Lady Melania Trump may not be in support of the president's new ballroom construction. According to the Wall Street Journal, the First Lady privately raised concerns about demolishing the East Wing of the White House, which has traditionally been home to the First Lady's office and her staff. She's like, hey, wait a minute. What are you doing? What?
That's right. They wrecked her stuff first, didn't they? Yeah.
Citing administration officials, the Journal reported the First Lady distanced herself from the move, telling associates, this is not my project. The White House has faced backlash from critics over the demolition, including from historians and the president's political opponents who argue the plan was not carried out in a transparent manner.
Oh, they didn't follow any protocol.
We have processes and protocols and standards.
Thank you. That's exactly
one day
it.
they were saying we're not touching the building, and the next day it's leveled. So
yeah, exactly. Literally one day, right? The day after they say we're not touching it, it's boom. Yeah, that's just right.
Big news. There is a penny shortage affecting retailers nationwide. Who knew pennies were so important?
I thought Trump is getting rid of the penny. That was one of the things he was doing.
Truth. The Treasury Department halted penny production in May, and the U.S. Mint cranked out its last batch of pennies in August. Now, a growing number of convenience stores and major chains, including Kroger and Home Depot, are reporting issues. The American Banking Association says about 250 billion pennies are still in circulation, but there's some localized supply issues. I don't understand why that's a big deal. Doesn't everyone pay with a debit card anyway? Or
yeah, well, that's the thing, though, Kim. I mean, you're right. There seems to be like a move to a cashless economy, but I don't even know that that's so good. You know, I'm not necessarily a fan of that. But that said, I didn't realize that the pennies are so integral, and I don't think anybody else did either. You know,
sadly, the leave a penny, take a penny spot is empty.
Oh, it is. Wow.
More big news. Shaq's custom Range Rover has been stolen.
What?
I mean, you can't just drive around in anything. You've got to have a lot of legroom, right?
Yeah, he's a big man.
Shaquille O'Neal's $180,000 Range Rover reportedly stolen while being transported from Southern California. Authorities say this 2025 Land Rover was being sent to Louisiana when it was taken, stolen. The SUV sold to the former Laker at Effortless Motors in Riverside. The auto transport company said it was targeted by a sophisticated cyber attack. Effortless Motors now offering a $10,000 reward for information leading to the recovery of Shaq's Range Rover.
I'd like to know a little bit more about how that happened. It feels like an inside job, doesn't it, Tony? I mean, how do they, all of a sudden, these guys who are charged with transporting Shaq's special custom automobile, they lose it on way? Doesn't that sound questionable?
And it's like, it's made for Shaq. It's like, how are you going to get any money for it other than saying this is Shaq's?
No, exactly.
And then you get caught.
It's a collector's item, and then you're caught. Exactly.
Yeah.
It's so true. I don't get it, but
Poor Shaq. Oh.
Yeah.
Lastly,
I'm guessing it's not his only car.
No, he'll be all right. He's gonna be okay.
Now he's down to 340 cars.
Lastly, today marks the sports equinox. You know what that is?
I do not.
It is when all 4 major professional sports leagues are in action on the same day.
Wow.
And this is their new hoax.
Wow.
You've got 11 NBA games, 2 NHL games, along with Monday Night Football and Game 3 of the World Series.
I've never seen anything like it.
Wow.
I know. It's a big deal. Today marks the 32nd sports equinox since the first one happened back in 1971.
So many ways to lose money if you're a gambler. I mean,
I had a busy week.
Yeah, this is the sports equinox. I love it.
I'll bet on this game.
Wow.
No. Mm-mm.
That is really...
That's not fake. That's real.
Okay, look at that.
Yeah.
The
sports
October
equinox.
27th. Here we are on Monday, October 27th, the sports equinox.
Mm-hmm.
Man.
I know. It's a big deal. This report sponsored by CoachellaValleyCoffee.com truly makes my life better. The tea is amazing. As a matter of fact, just cracked open my brand new vanilla tea. Oh, it's so fresh and delicious and makes the world a better place. CoachellaValleyCoffee.com. You too can save 10% with the official super secret Mark Thompson Show code.
Yes.
It is. Oh, there's my vanilla tea. It is Mark T, no spaces at checkout. That'll save you a little bit. And I hope you'll take a look at the website, CoachellaValleyCoffee.com.
Anything on that website, you get 10% off. I mean, it's it's not limited to coffees and teas. You like their merch or whatever it is, spices, whatever you'd like. You're the boss.
You are. Mm-hmm. I'm Kim McAllister. This is The Mark Thompson Show.
The Mark Thompson Show.
Hey, which one of you is Mark Thompson?
This is Mark Thompson.
Put that coffee down.
There's always been in this country 30 to 35% idiots.
What?
Right on, everybody. Thank you for being here. We are a live 2-hour show. Every day we're here, Monday through Friday, and whenever there's a new video, sometimes Tony surprises us. He'll do a remix or a special interview, and we drop it on the weekend. It's a somewhat rare thing. I wouldn't maybe rare is the wrong word. It's somewhat unusual, but we do it from time to time. So hit the notification bell, and you'll know whenever there is one of those. Some of them have been some of our most popular conversations because they sometimes have nothing to do with politics or whatever. It might just be a really great conversation, long-form conversation. Anyway, hit the notification bell when you subscribe. Please do subscribe, share the show. It costs you nothing to do either, and it helps us in the world of YouTube and just helps us to maintain the footprint of the show. Those of you who have jumped on the Patreon and PayPal train, thank you. You are the critical part of this community. We would not be here without you. And Tony updates the scroll with all those names that we run at the end of every show. Everyone and every entity and company that helps to keep the show monthly going, you're responsible for every show, and that's the reason we run your names at the end of every show. So you can be part of that group if you want to be part of that community that supports the show. TheMarkThompsonShow.com is our website, and there are hot links through to both Patreon and PayPal. And if you would prefer, you can just click the live links underneath all our videos. There are links to Patreon and PayPal there as well under every video. But those just listening, a lot of A lot of people listen on Spotify and iHeartRadio and Apple Podcasts. If you're just listening, go to themarkthompsonshow.com and you can jump on board and join our community that way. And if you need to reach the show for any reason, we have a Gmail. I know it's pretty exciting.
What?
It's a pretty elite thing. I know not a lot of people have that Gmail. The Mark Thompson Show at gmail.com. The Mark Thompson Show at gmail.com. Please feel free to be in touch, and I will share the information as it comes in. Let's take a look at, before I get to President Trump's health, I want to take a look at some, if you do a meetup, I just might go, says Angel in the Bay Area. Wow, that's exciting.
What?
I know. And once the word gets out that Angel in the Bay Area is going to be there, I expect a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
If something happens to Mark, can Mo Kelly take over? Yes, I fully endorse that. Richard Delamater asks the question that we are all asking. Is Mo available to take over the show? I mean, if I go to Colombia and I'm taken, you should keep the show going, I mean, keep my name on it for a little while just to be polite, and then you'll change it.
If you do get kidnapped, I mean, I guess we should consider putting a GoFundMe together for a ransom.
That would be nice.
Yeah.
That would be nice. I'm just saying.
I mean, if you do get kept, we're going to grift the hell out of that, right?
I mean, I would hope.
For the show.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if you don't, I don't know. I'm both joking and also legitimately frightened. But, if all's well that ends well.
They won't kidnap you. If you get kidnapped, just keep talking. Eventually, they'll let you go.
Yeah, at least I can speak some Spanish.
That's right. You can.
Yeah. Don't certain insurance companies have their own investigations too for these kinds of jewels? At least they do in the movies. Yeah, it's true. Debbie asks the question that is a good one. On the Louvre heist, and also even on Shaq's thing, don't the insurance companies have way they investigate these things? I think, Tony, they do, is my recollection.
Many a TV show have been based on such an investigation, right?
Yeah. Thank you, Debbie, for the super chat. You're absolutely right. I think that's something that should be considered. Luis with a $5 super chat says, that description of areas of Colombia sounds much safer than Trump's description of San Francisco. And you have no problem going there. So, you don't have a problem going there to San Francisco, then you should have a problem going to Colombia. LOL, City and Fuego. Yeah.
Yeah.
Luis's Los Angeles Dodgers look dominant. We'll see. Series is all tied up, I think. The building should have his name, Debbie says. The destruction and now design is a perfect metaphor for him and lots of Home Depot gold-painted ceilings, flowers, etc., says Debbie. Yeah, I really don't think it's, as I say, there's grift at minimum, and I think there's more going on than just the building of a ballroom. But, I don't know. Again, is it a bunker? Is it some kind of other meeting place where he, Miller, Peter Thiel, Bondi, Kash Patel, all the rest of them can, hang out while the bad stuff goes down? I don't know. But I do know that it's hard for me to conceive that it's a ballroom for $350 million. So, wish I saw the White House before 2016. I hope the actual Declaration of Independence and Constitution will not end up in a Mar-a-Lago outhouse, says Scott Rittenberg. Yeah, you know what I mean? If he wanted, he could put the actual Declaration of Independence, he has control over all these documents, put them anywhere he wants. So I'll get to J.B. Pritzker in a moment, who's talking about other stuff. The ballroom is a ruse, says Cousin Erie. In 2028, he will need a fancy new bunker to rule from. Ballroom designs aren't even real. They will do everything they can to prevent reporting on what's happening. Well, I kind of agree. I mean, with some of that. I don't really buy the whole thing. It's all happening so fast, and I'm sorry. And it's embarrassing that the Congress is so completely MIA on this, and I'm really talking about his party, the GOP. It's disgusting. You're all originalists when it comes to the Constitution, whatever the hell that means. And the original Constitution made provisions for amendments. The original document, all you originalists, it actually allows for changes. That's the whole idea. And so, anyway, you're originalists. You're not so original when it comes to tearing down the White House and building some gaudy, garish ballroom. I mean, you know, Trump wants to turn the White House into a Saudi whorehouse, and you guys aren't even at all bothered by it. No one said, well, did you check with anything? Did anybody look at any plans? Did anybody check at the archivists, the historians? I mean, they're all Trump appointees. Go ahead. At least have them approve it. Nope. Let's bring in that the skip loaders and the wrecking ball. Mm-hmm. Here's to state integrity, says Harry Magnum. Red state integrity, he says. Texas could learn a lesson. Yeah, I was talking about those red states who can't quite get the votes for the extreme gerrymandering, and Harry's saying, take a page from that. I want to share with you something I saw also.
Hey, which one do you use, Mark Thompson?
All right. Okay.
Use Mark Thompson.
The Mark Thompson.
Okay. I wanted to share with you a little something I saw from J.B. Pritzker, who kind of states it straight. Let's just get to it. It's about the ICE raids, and it's about the way in which the Trump administration is leaning into so many different cities. Here's Pritzker. Go ahead.
I'm talking about if you have brown skin or black skin, you are literally afraid that you are going to get pulled over or detained walking down the street just for being brown or black. I mean, that is not a world that I have ever lived in, at least since I was born. And it's certainly not legal and allowed since, well, until now, I guess, because you heard that Brett Kavanaugh at the Supreme Court essentially said that's fine. You can use, racial profiling as a reason to detain somebody. So I'm very concerned about the people that I represent and the state that I represent and the city of Chicago and our people here. And also, I will add, for undocumented people who are here, because, they can be detained and they could be deported. But very importantly, their rights are also being abridged and taken away. There are rights for people who are in the United States, whether you're here because you crossed the border without papers or you overstayed your visa or whatever. But remember that Donald Trump said that he was using Customs and Border Patrol and ICE to go after the worst of the worst. And listen, I would love it if they would go arrest the actual gang members who are committing violent crimes, if they'd actually go after criminals. That's not what they're doing. They're literally stopping the abuelas and, little kids and zip tying them. They're attacking a building in the middle of the night in a way that they said they were going after Trendale Aragua, but actually, there were only 2 or 3 people that they could identify that fit that. And in the 130 other people, many of whom were U.S. citizens, were detained for hours, put into U-Hauls, little kids zip-tied. And they used Black Hawk helicopters, rappelling out of the helicopters, and they set up dozens of cameras before they attacked this building so that they could show it all on social media and, act like tough guys. And Gregory Bavino, who runs the operation here and ran the operation for them in Los Angeles, is somebody who loves social media. Go look at his account. And so I just, this is the world we're living in, and it's frightening for so many people. So my job every day is to make sure that I can lessen the fear that people are experiencing or stand in the way of ICE breaking the law.
Yeah, I think he's so right. I'm so glad he mentioned the performance aspect to it because, there's a real sense of wanting to show the power of ICE and the military and to intimidate, and it's to intimidate the local population. And the other thing I will say, and then I'll get to a second J.B. Pritzker cut, is that part of the Venezuela move with the Gerald Ford and with all of the hardware that is the U.S. military, and of course, Pete Hegseth can't wait to show this stuff off. This is his big thing, right? He's chin forward. He puts his drink down and he makes some orders and he signs some stuff, and he's got this big Venezuela thing going. So that is also designed to remind the local population, Americans, of the strength that the government has. That is part of this also. This is all constructed with, on some level, a message to Americans. Our government is powerful. Now, you might say, well, that's a good thing. I want a powerful government. It's also designed to remind you that you're not to run afoul of this government. You're not to criticize this government. Here's J.B. Pritzker, cut 2.
One of the challenges is that that federal agents enjoy federal immunity. And typically, and throughout history, federal agents are held responsible by inspectors general or by their supervisors, by U.S. attorneys, right? These are all federal officials who are responsible for following the law. Well, guess what's happening? They're not following the law, and the people who are overseeing them are not following the law. They're not following the Constitution. So we have only one recourse, really, if we want to hold them accountable. Well, I would say 2, really. One is we're taking them to court. And so far, mostly, we're winning, but not on everything. And frankly, you know, that's allowed them to do a lot of things we don't want them to do. But there's a second thing that we're doing, and that's making a record of what they're doing, a contemporaneous record. I've asked people all over the city of Chicago, and we've used also our state resources to video as many things as we see that ICE are doing and that CBP is doing to the people of Chicago that we think are illegal, and making a record and actually, you know, asking for people to submit testimony about that. You know why? It's not that we think that Donald Trump is going to hold them accountable now, but he will not be in office forever, and the Congress won't always be in MAGA Republican hands where they're just saying hands off whatever the president wants. There will be a moment when these folks are held accountable, and they can be held accountable by the Congress being hauled in front of them, but also potentially held accountable later for criminal activity that they're committing now, or by their supervisors in one fashion or another in terms of their jobs and whether they'll continue to have their jobs. So I've reminded them of that, the federal agents, that you won't always, you know, have the situation you've got now where people are turning a blind eye at the federal level to what you're doing. And so you better be careful, because it may not be very long before you are, in fact, held accountable.
I don't think these ICE agents and those who are doing the dirty bidding of this administration and Stephen Miller care too much. I mean, I think that they don't really do the arithmetic, but it is worth noting, and I'm so glad he did, that, you know, some of the charges that can be brought, they may be charges that you can't be pardoned from. They may be state charges, like in Illinois and Chicago. I mean, that's the guy who could pardon you in Illinois, J.B. Pritzker, and you can see he's not in any way sympathetic. So I like the fact, and maybe it's just delusional, that someday there will be a reckoning for some of what's going on. But the true terrorizing of these innocent families, which is primarily what was happening and is happening. I mean, these detention centers are overwhelmingly filled with people who are perfectly innocent, have done nothing. They work in professions that are challenging, to say the least, like the agricultural field, to, you know, to the grotesque in the slaughterhouses. They were doing things like showing up for their court-appointed immigration hearing, and they're arrested. Families are broken up. Kids never know whether they're going to see their parents again. It's horrifying. It's awful. But that's the express policy. So maybe it is a false hope, but it's the hope I have, and that's why I think Pritzker, you know, makes a compelling kind of argument, which is, I'm encouraging people to keep contemporaneous notes, any documentation that you possibly can have, to, on some level, on some day in the future, be able to hold people who are involved in all of these efforts accountable for what they did. That's one of the reasons that they're masked and that they have no badge numbers and all the rest, right? So they can get away with this. It really is so un-American. And yet that's where we are. So, all right. Did I leave anything out, Kim, that I wanted to get to, that I can quickly get to? Kim is either muted or she's taking a long pause.
You left a lot of things on the table. I think we did play for Gary Dietrich the Lindsey Graham thing, but did you see that Milley was successful in Argentina?
Yeah, he did win. That's right.
Yeah.
This is the guy who the Trump people are trying to prop up. The La Libertad Avanza won over 40% of the votes in the national elections. So,
Yeah. The other thing I would mention is that, and I mean, I don't have much hope for a real investigation, but Trump is still hung up on the big lie, right? And so he is now saying that he wants his DOJ to investigate the big lie. Again, multiple investigations have shown that he lost the 2020 election.
Yeah.
But now his DOJ, he wants them to look into it because I guess he wants a different outcome.
These guys will produce whatever document he wants, so maybe he does want it. Well, now I want these guys to look at it because these guys are my guys. Yeah, I mean, really my guys, though. Like, I can draft it and they'll just sign it. Right. So I think that you're right. I mean, I fully expect he's so obsessed with this because he knows it's bullshit, but he's so obsessed with it that I fully expected when he comes out of these China talks to go, she was talking about how the mail-in voting it's gamed. He said, I can't believe you in America use mail-in voting. I can't believe how they stole that election from you in 2020. So I agree. His obsession is crazy. I mean, if they restarted producing pennies from the U.S. Mint, if he restarted that, I'm sure the new pennies would say 2020 election stolen. Trump was actually, I was like, geez, dude, stop. It's, again, so patently absurd. But again, now he will encourage his Justice Department to go over. And by the way, this costs you money. I mean, we say to look at it again. It's not like go, hey, Bob, take a look at that 2020 election again. No, it's a big thing. It has to be wrapped in officialdom. It costs money. They spent $2 million, or I forget what did he say? Wait a minute. In 2016, he said in the election with Hillary, he won that election, okay? And he said that 2 million voters voted in the Maine election, or wasn't it Maine or Vermont? You have to go back and help me with the details. Illegally, that they were dropping off busloads of people. 2 million? 2 million voters in Maine? I mean, it was just like these weird, wild things. So it was kind of knocked down and debunked right away. And he, then president, remember he'd won the election, actually assigned a task force to investigate that. I mean, it's crazy. It's like investigating whether or not the moon is made of cheese. I mean, it's like, well, the president wants us to investigate. Yeah, but it's ridiculous. Yeah, but I know. Well, that's your opinion that it's ridiculous. The president, but this is where we live, in this kind of a wonderland. So anyway, they'll investigate the 2020 election
Big lie.
Again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Rewriting history.
Yeah. I did see this, and I'll leave you with this, because I often talk about the power of these tech bros and how they've now surrounded Donald Trump. They've successfully removed regulatory structures around crypto. They've successfully removed a lot of regulatory structures around social media. And even who's ending up controlling all the media in America seems to be, again, something that very much is tech bro centric. The TikTok example is the latest. 4 big tech executives the Army directly commissioned to be lieutenant colonels with no military background will not recuse themselves from business dealings with the Department of Defense while they are lieutenant colonels.
Wait, what?
As the Pentagon in particular, the Army, cozies up to Silicon Valley, they have commissioned 4 big tech executives to be lieutenant colonels.
How is that legal?
Legal. That's such a quaint idea. Earlier this month, the Army announced Detachment 201, the name being a reference for the newly commissioned executives of Palantir, Meta, and OpenAI.
Wow.
The new formation is set to recruit tech executives to work on major Army challenges, but the service has not articulated exactly what those individuals would do. Instead, they focus on recruiting talent and creating jobs around the talent they create. They're not making acquisition decisions, it is said by an Army spokesman. They're not senior decision makers. But what oversight mechanisms are in place over the new unit? Quote, it's not in our interest to show any favoritism to a company that would be the exact opposite of what we're trying to do, right? What we want is competition. That's what we're looking for. These guys will help us think about that. The four include Shyam Sankar, the Chief Technology Officer for Palantir, Andrew Bosworth, the Chief Tech Officer for Meta, Kevin Weil, Chief Product Officer of OpenAI, and Bob McGrew, advisor at Thinking Machines Lab and former chief researcher for OpenAI. They'll take part in an extremely accelerated 2-week training course to familiarize them with the Army. Some of that will be online training. They won't even have to show up for it. The rest will be at Fort Benning, Georgia. And they are immediately vaulted to these top positions. Again, they'll be lieutenant colonels.
It's like
welcome to the service.
It's a cash grab free-for-all.
Unreal. Yeah. So we'll see. The cozying up of the American government to a lot of these companies involves data of Americans. That's where I become particularly sensitive to it, and payoffs of all sorts. But that story jumped out at me because it is truly crazy. Mark, don't go to Colombia, says Vicky in Sausalito. Yes, we're reconsidering, but I am, it's my good friend whose son is getting married.
No.
I've always dreamt of going, and I can't believe that that this situation exists. There is Tony again with Colombia on the State Department website at a level 3. So there are 4 levels. Is that it?
I thought there were 5, but maybe there are
no. There's 4, and this includes some
I was
levels
hoping
of
there
4.
are 5.
I don't know. Let me find out. Let me see if I can find out.
I mean, they're so this level 4 is I guess don't go, but level 3 is where we are.
Yeah.
And what they're saying is overall it's level 3, but there are level 4 parts of Colombia right now.
Stay away from the 4s.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's a
I'm sure you'll be fine. Don't worry about it.
Kim wants to. Can't wait till she'll have the show for
all
herself.
Right. Kim, how are you?
She's getting sick of that after party thing. She wants to just do this show.
There you
go. Okay,
yeah, level 4 is the last because Afghanistan and Russia are level 4.
Okay.
So there you go.
Wow. Now, but there are aspects of Colombia that are level 4 also, right? That's the idea.
It says yeah.
Overall, it's number 3. It's level 3.
It says includes areas at level 4.
You see that brown? Yeah. Go back to that map of Latin America, and you can see they're level 4 parts, man. Yeah.
Well, the good news for you is you've got some aircraft carriers nearby. If you needed assistance, America's in the region. So, you know.
I don't know. The wedding party should pay for your ransom. That's it's a
wild idea, but it just might work.
If anybody's taken, you'll be, if something happens, you could not save Otto Warmbier. Yeah, it's true. We don't. I think it's going to be. It's tough. Mexico is broken up by state. Also, yeah, I think that's what happens. So, it's only level 3. You'll be fine. Says the surface man.
Yeah. Okay, come
on. There's probably level 4 here in the U.S. Says Gilsey. Yeah, that is exactly right. I mean,
don't be such a baby. It's okay.
This show is level 4 on some days. You know what I mean? Are you with me on that? I don't know. Well, Vamos a ver, as we say in Spanish, right? We'll see. The day tomorrow brings the great David K. Johnston on, yeah. And I'm looking forward to that conversation. We will talk more about what's... Tony will come and get you in Colombia if anything happens. So that's
there
cool.
You go.
I love it. I love it.
We have an AI risk expert on the show tomorrow. His name is Rahul Power.
Oh, yeah, that'll be great. I'm really anxious to talk to him. That's super, super cool.
Dr. Michael Daigneault coming tomorrow as well.
Michael Daigneault, the doctor.
Yeah.
I love it. The actual ER doctor. Wow. Mm-hmm. So we talk AI with an AI specialist. We talk medicine with an actual ER doctor. And we talk Trump and American policy with a brilliant public intellectual, David K. Johnston. All of that is tomorrow. Share the show. Thank you for being here. And now the great Shadow.
I'm Shadow Stevens for the Mark Thompson Show. Bye-bye.
I think it's Shadow's birthday today.
Hey.
No. Maybe it's next week. All right. Yo, it's next week. Next Monday. All right. Until tomorrow. Bye-bye.